G'day guys, it's Steve here from Matt, and this is the 21st Century Physio podcast. And this podcast is designed to help you bring your practice into the 21st century and help you improve the skills that you didn't learn at university. Now, we've been talking about a podcast for a long time at Matt, and that's because we get 3 to 4 emails a month from either new graduates who are disillusioned with practice or small business owners who are disillusioned with their small business, wanting to know how they can start to do the things we do at Matt, how they can use the technology, and where they can go to develop skills they didn't learn at university, both from a technical point of view, in particular assessment with our Matt assessment courses, but also in regards to the use of technology, marketing, sales, web design, social media management, and a wide array of skills that you need in the 21st century to be a successful practitioner in practice. A little bit about me. I was initially qualified as an osteopath, but after a year, I was one of those new grads who got a little bit disillusioned. I realised that I couldn't put that leg length, straight, or if I did, they were coming back with the same injury. I realised that the patients that I was treating when I worked as a strength and conditioning coach and personal trainer, I really had difficulty transforming them onto the treatment table. And likewise, the people who I was treating on the treatment table as an osteopath, I realised I really had trouble getting them moving again. And I realised there was something missing in my practice. So I went looking for something more. And I went back and did my master's in physiotherapy. Now, this helped me a lot in regards to communication. It helped me a lot in regards to clinical reasoning. And I got a great deal out of Lauren Mosley and David Butler from the Noy Group around pain science. But I only had 1 2-hour class of education around movement in my master's in physiotherapy. So there was still a lacking there. And I went and travelled around the world, spent thousands and thousands of dollars looking to do every movement-based course I could until I found, some things that I felt incorporated into my practice really nicely. And along the way, I started collaborating with my business partner, Andrew Lemon from Matt, around how we can start to, get more objective data around movement. And that's where we designed the movement assessment tool, which was something just we wanted in practice. And turns out a few of our friends did. We initially ran a course for them. And then 3.5 years later, we've now got 3,500 people around the world using their Matt in their practices. So this podcast is not only for physiotherapists, but for all health and fitness professionals. We're going to be giving you lots of practical tips to help you bridge the gaps that you have in your practice, both around movement and assessment, around treatment and rehabilitation, but also around those things I mentioned earlier, like marketing, sales, social media management, accounting, web design, and even designing your own podcast and doing your own video content. Because we know in the 21st century as a physiotherapist, we really need to be, almost a media business before we actually do our core service of actually treating, managing, and helping our patients and clients get back to doing the things that they need, want, and love to do. Now, this young gentleman today, Michael from Belgium, I hope you're listening, he came to me with a question that I get really regularly. Sometimes from osteopaths, sometimes from chiropractors, a lot from physiotherapists. And that is, do I need to go back and do further study? Because they've become disillusioned in practice. They're either not getting the results they want, or they're getting the results, but they're not getting that enjoyment that they seek from their day-to-day work lives. They get bored with the monotony of seeing patients all day, every day. And so over the course of the journey of this podcast, we're going to take you and introduce you to lots of physiotherapists and other health and fitness professionals around the world, as well as other business professionals who are going to talk a little bit about their journey and what's led them to be where they are today, and how you can maybe take some of the skills, lots of different practical tips, and implement them into your practice to help you get more enjoyment from your practice, help you get better results for your patients and clients, because that's why we all became physiotherapists and health and fitness professionals, to help more people. And hopefully this podcast, I can help you help more people. Now, the podcast will be released every 2 weeks, and we'll have some great guests, as I mentioned, from around the world. We'll try and mix up the content regularly, making sure that we do get lots of great practical tips and research from leading experts around the world, but also, as I said, helped get you some of these other skills that you didn't learn at university that are really crucial for you being a successful physiotherapist in the 21st century. And we'll talk a lot about my favourite thing in the world, technology, and how we can use that in your practice to bring your practice into the 21st century. Now, if you've got any questions along the way, you'd like to find out more about the podcast or about Matt itself, make sure you head to podcast.physio. The website is full with information that will help you bring your practice into the 21st century. And there's a great ebook there of my top 20 apps and software that you can implement into your practice to help you get better results with your patients and clients and improve your business systems, allowing you to spend more time doing the things that you need, want, and love to do. Today's only a short episode. You've heard a little bit of the reason about why I decided to create the 21st Century Physio podcast by Matt. Today's just a quick introduction podcast, but we've got lots of exciting things coming up over the next few weeks to get you started, including some great tips around ACL and return to play, and we've got some great business tips from some great 21st century physiotherapists. So make sure you tune in every 2 weeks on a Monday and you'll get the latest episode of the 21st Century Physio podcast. But while you're waiting, head over to the website podcast.physio and download your free ebook to help you start to bring your practice into the 21st century. If you've got anything that you'd like to hear about on the podcast, also make sure you send me an email at podcast@mattassessment.com. The best way that we can get great relevant content for you is by getting your feedback. The other thing that you need to do before the next episode is head over to Facebook and like the 21st Century Physio podcast page and join our 21st Century Physio group, where we're going to have great interaction and great content for you to stay up to date with the latest evidence and the latest things that you can incorporate into your practice to be a 21st Century Physio. I'm Stephen King, the 21st Century Physio, and I look forward to helping you bring your practice into the 21st century. Until next time, see you later.